Ladies and gentlemen, the American Panorama. America plays.
America sings.
America speaks.
America remembers.
America salutes. This is the American Panorama.
My Columbia, my freedom.
Yes, the American Panorama with Knox Manning, Nadine Connor, Bill Roberts, Edward Kay, his orchestra and chorus, and as master of ceremonies, True Boardman.
To you, Americans all, to Americans everywhere, welcome. In the name of each and every one of our fellow countrymen, we greet you. The American Panorama is a dramatic and musical review of the richness and greatness of this our nation, the United States of America, greatest melting pot in the world. 130 million people representing every nationality on the face of the globe, living together in harmony, in freedom, and in peace. 130 million realizing that theirs is the finest country of all in which to live, and determined at all costs to keep it so. From the beginning of our history, this has been the American way. To look into the heart of a nation, listen to its music. America's dance melodies started in the raw wilderness with a jug and a fiddle. Now the civilized universe dances to our super bands and keeps time to the melodies of Tin Pan Alley. America plays. Yes, America plays. Music is the instinctive outlet for a people's emotions. And from the richness of our lives and our traditions spring melodies which soon will echo round the world. Tonight with Bill Roberts, America sings.
Say it over and over again. Over and over again. Never stop saying you're mine. Please say it ever and ever so sweet. Ever and ever so sweet. Just like an old Valentine. When you say I love you, the same old I love you, they whisper in stories and plays. You can change I love you, the same old I love you, to oh, such a heavenly phrase. Please say it softly and gently, and then over and over again. Never stop saying you're mine.
Over and over and over again.
Oh, say it.
Oh, say it.
Over and over again.
Oh, say it.
Over and over again.
Oh, won't you say it?
Never stop saying
over and over and over again.
Oh, say it,
Oh, say it,
ever and ever so sweet.
oh, say it,
Ever and ever so
oh,
sweet.
make it sweet, dear.
Just like an old
You're
Valentine.
gonna find it simply true to divine.
When you say I love you, the same old I love you, they whisper in stories and plays. You can change I love you, the same old I love you, to oh, such a heavenly phrase.
What a heavenly phrase.
Oh, say it,
Oh, say it over and over again.
oh, say it,
Over and over again.
won't you say it,
Over and over again.
over and over again.
Yes, America sings. But what is America thinking in these troublous times? In this country, we speak our thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, through the voice of the popular young commentator Knox Manning, America speaks.
The war clouds pile up over Europe, and the reverberations of their thunder are heard too plainly in the Western Hemisphere. Americans listen, think, and speak. Some of us speak quickly, passionately, moved by a mixture of anger and apprehension caused by the news from across the tossing Atlantic. But others of us speak only after calm deliberation, a careful analysis of a situation, its deep-seated cause and long-range effect. Such a man as Dr. James Bryant Conant, president of Harvard University, who, even as America trembles for the future of the entire world, calmly, dispassionately searches for a fundamental truth and underlying reason for our domestic ills, and says,
Utopian hopes of reforming man as a social animal, the ideal of the founding fathers, have produced no such result. We of America must readjust our thoughts to match old ideals with new ideas.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and a mere handful of America's population listened as the president of Harvard made this thought-provoking address, which focused the blinding white light of a keen intelligence on one of the fundamental ills of not only America, but this troubled world. Dr. James Bryant Conant. And that takes us back to other words of Harvard's president. For a century and a half, he pointed out, Americans have declared this is a free country. There are no classes in the United States. But let us not shut our eyes to reality. The vanishing of free lands, the growth of cities and their slums, the multiplication of tenant farmers and despairing migratory workers are signs of the passage from one social order to another. But looking beyond our borders, realize that Russia is classless but not free. England is free but not classless. Germany is neither free nor classless. There we pause in borrowing the words of a great American educator of today. In a greater perspective, a destroying war is being fought over idealistic conditions which we of America accept without thought, over ideals of both personal liberty and social justice, which we enjoy without thinking of their significance. America thinks of these and other priceless privileges in comparative terms today as war seems nearer to us, thinks of them as possibly jeopardized by a continent torn in a clash between old ideals and new ideas. But as America thinks of the future, it thinks of but one thing, that what has been preserved on this continent, despite all trials and adversities, must never be lost. The pioneering ideals of early America can be adjusted to the modern world. Ours is the task to see that they're never destroyed in our own land, that they must be recognized in the rest of the world as the essential parts of America's greatness, now and forever. That is what America thinks. And what America thinks, America speaks.
In New York Central Park stands a statue honoring an American light opera genius of the mauve decade. To countless thousands alive today, the echoes of his unforgettable tunes bring with them a sweet nostalgia. Lou Chow's, Rector's, Delmonico's, hansom cabs, Fritzy Chef. Fritzy Chef in Mademoiselle Modiste. Through the enchanting arrangement of Edward Kay, with Nadine Connor and Bill Roberts as the featured soloists, the melodies of that great musical favorite of yesteryear are reborn on this American panorama. once more to captivate and bewitch us. Victor Herbert, America Remembers.
Every weary fun when charity makes him man, opening heart and hand, cheerily for our land, helping those who once so rarely took their stand, battling for their country's honor.
We have often sung the praises of some of the men and women, scientists, statesmen, inventors, who have helped to make our country great. Their names are graven in America's Hall of Fame. But what of our unsung heroes? Those servants of mankind who have been almost lost in the pulsing rush of life, who have done their tasks and gone their ways unheralded. It is one such person, an unsung hero in the national march of achievement, whom tonight America salutes. Hundreds, even thousands, are alive today because of a single man. And the numbers that his work will save in days and years to come are beyond all hope of counting.
You mean Pasteur? He discovered vaccination.
Or Cook, who found the treatment for diphtheria.
No, it's William Morton you refer to. He perfected anesthesia.
You're wrong. They were great men, but they are gone. This person I speak of is still alive, still eager, still determined to serve and to accomplish for mankind.
Who is he then?
Suppose we call him forth and speak to him. I'm sure there's magic enough in radio for that. At any rate, we can try. Philip Drinker. That's his name. Philip. Professor Philip Drinker.
Yes? Did you call me?
We did. We called you to step forward from the obscurity of man's thoughtlessness. We'd like to learn firsthand about the work you've done and how and why and what has come of it. Suppose you tell us, Philip Drinker.
Well, I can try. I'm not quite sure myself how it began. You see, I've always been interested in the scientific conditioning of the air we breathe. I suppose that's why I quit teaching physiology at Harvard Medical School and began to specialize in ventilation. But of course, I still had many contacts in medicine. And there was a day early in 1927 when I'd arranged to meet an MD friend of mine at his hospital. I arrived a few minutes early.
Yes, Professor Drinker. Dr. Rogers will be right here. But he asked me to tell you we won't be able to go to that dinner party with you after all.
Oh, I see. Bad case?
Pitiful. 6-year-old youngster. Infantile paralysis.
Another one? It's getting close to the epidemic stage, isn't it? Here in the city, I mean.
Not only in the city, throughout the country. Hundreds of new cases each week.
Oh, the poor kids.
I know how you
Oh, here
feel.
comes Dr. Rogers.
And we're doing everything that can be done, Mrs. Hill.
But will he get well, Dr. Rogers? Will Tommy get well?
Frankly, we can't be sure. I'm sorry.
I understand, Doctor. I'll go back and do it.
Hello, Phil. I'm sorry about tonight, but I want to stay right by the boy.
Well, that's all right, John. I only wish I could help.
A miracle. That's all that could help Tommy Hill right now. The paralysis has moved to the diaphragm and chest wall muscles. He's going to suffocate.
Suffocate?
That's what it amounts to if he can't draw air into his lungs.
What about a pulmotor?
A pulmotor forces air into the lungs and then draws it out again. But the chest muscles aren't working, and they must be.
Yes. Then what you need in cases like this is some...
Exactly what I said before. A miracle.
I'm not so sure.
What do you mean?
John, I don't know the answer to this problem, but I've got a hunch there is one. And maybe I can find it.
Phil, if you could, I'd be
Doctor?
Yes?
You better come in at once. Quickly, Doctor.
For hours, I walked the streets, reliving every moment of that scene back in the hospital. And with every step, I seemed to hear the tortured breathing of that child, fighting vainly for the air that would keep him alive.
6 years old. Infantile paralysis. Hasn't a chance at 10.
We're doing everything we can for Tommy.
An epidemic throughout the whole country.
Will Tommy get well, Doctor? Will he get well?
A miracle. That's all that'll help the boy now. A miracle.
Hundreds of new cases every week.
He'll suffocate.
I'll go back into it.
It needs a miracle.
I understand, Doctor.
A miracle. A miracle.
A miracle! A miracle! A miracle!
What is it? Oh, Phil, come in. What's wrong?
Lewis, I'm sorry to wake you up this time of night, but I need your help.
Of course. What is it?
It's an idea that just came to me. Perhaps it's crazy, but on the other hand...
Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
A machine, Lewis. A machine to artificially produce respiration. Something that will breathe for people who are unable to breathe for themselves.
But how can it be done?
We're going to experiment. I'll explain the principle of my idea, and if you agree it's right, we'll start building the machine tomorrow. We need money, Mr. Carter. And I'll admit there's a chance I am on the wrong track, but I don't think so. And if I'm right...
Wait, Professor Drinker. I'm not sure that I believe in this idea of yours, but I do believe in you. I don't know how anyone can listen to you for 10 minutes and not believe in you. Professor, my company will back your experiments. How much do you need?
The hours we spent in that workshop, the disappointments we met one after another aren't important. The day finally came when the first crude model was completed. It stood there, a huge cylinder of steel, a symbol of the success or failure of that idea I'd had long weeks before. One of our assistants volunteered to be a sort of human guinea pig. Feel all right in there, Edwards?
I guess so, Professor. This rubber collar attachment's pretty tight around my neck.
It has to be. We have to create a vacuum inside the cylinder.
But will that ordinary vacuum cleaner motor be strong enough for that?
We'll find that out. Ready, Lewis?
All set.
Well, here goes. Turn the switch, Lewis.
Right.
Edwards, what's happening? How does this affect your breathing?
It's breathing for me. Makes my chest expand. Whether I want it to or not. It works, Professor. It works.
Long distance again for you. Boston, the Children's Hospital.
We gave them our answer.
But why should we refuse, Phil? The machine's finished.
What is it, Lewis? Are we sure it's as perfect as we can make it? It must be before we risk using it on a human patient.
Listen, Phil. That doctor on the phone says paralysis is rapidly involving the chest muscles of a little girl.
Oh, but, Lewis, I don't think
in a few hours, it'll be too late for any machine on Earth to help her.
All right, Lewis. I guess you're right. We've got to make the test sometime, and if our iron lung isn't ready now, it never will be. We'll go to Boston.
Professor Drinker, on behalf of the staff of the Children's Hospital, I want to congratulate you on your apparatus. For 5 days, we doctors have watched that machine keep a child alive, and...
Oh, then the little girl is still in the lung, Doctor, huh?
Why, no, she's,
You've taken her out? After 5 days, she can breathe normally without it?
No, Professor. The fact is, the child died 2 hours ago.
She died. That child died. And you stand there and congratulate me on my machine. She died, and you tell me it's a success. Well, I say it's a failure. During the days that followed that child's death, there were times when, but for Louis Shaw, I'd have been tempted to destroy the machine we'd built. But we continued our experiments with animals. And then, in September 1929, a young Harvard senior named Barrett Hoyt had been stricken with paralysis. I'd like to help your son, but the first patient on whom the iron lung was used...
That child died, I know. But the doctor says your apparatus was not at fault.
Well, unfortunately, we can't be sure of that.
Professor Drinker, if there's even a chance that your iron lung might save my son, I beg you to try. If you fail, I'll understand. If you succeed, it will be a miracle.
A miracle? Mr. Hoyt, if you're sure you understand, we'll do it. We'll try to save your son. Well, he's unconscious.
Yes, Yes, it happened just as we put him in the cabinet.
We're ready if you are. Mr. Hoyt, you're sure you understand the risk?
I understand.
Nurse, turn on the switch. He's breathing deeper.
The machine works perfectly.
I think your job is done, Drinker. We'll see, Doctor. In 5 days, a week, if he's still breathing in, and still later, if the day comes when he can breathe as well as ever before, outside that iron lung, then I'll agree with you. Then the job is done. Patient Barrett Hoyt, 10 hours in Drinker artificial respirator, condition improving. Patient Barrett Hoyt, 3 days in respirator, pulse normal, general condition improving. Patient Barrett Hoyt, condition greatly improved. Removed from respirator for longer period each day.
Yes?
Professor Drinker?
Yes, come in.
You may not recognize me. I've changed a little since you saw me last. My name is Barrett Hoyt.
Well, of course. I'm glad to see you, Mr. Hoyt.
Professor, I don't know quite how to say this, but I want to thank you. I'm starting back to college next month, and, well, I guess you know how I feel about you and that iron lung of yours.
I'm glad it helped you. As a matter of fact, your getting well was almost as important to me as it was to you. You see, son, I'd almost lost my faith in an idea. And you, well, indirectly, you gave it back to me. And I'm grateful to you for that. More grateful than you can ever know.
For his ingenuity, his courage, his perseverance, for his idea and its fulfillment, for his labors that shall save unnumbered lives in years to come, it is the inventor of the iron lung, Professor Philip Drinker, whom America salutes. America plays. America sings. Say it.
We'll say it over and over again.
Over and over again.
America speaks. Ours is the task to see that American ideals are kept alive in our land, now and forever.
America remembers.
We would die as a tricolor rose, never one to dishonor was true. She's the south of the Met, she's the girl we love best, she's the Met of that
And America salutes an unsung hero. This is the American Panorama.
My Columbia, let freedom.
For Nadine Connor, Knox Manning, Bill Roberts, Edward Kay and his orchestra and chorus, and the members of the entire cast, this is True Boardman saying good night and inviting you to be with us next week for another American Panorama.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.